All right, welcome everybody. Today is July 18th, day 19 of well over 100,000 degrees in Phoenix, but it's also warm here in Dallas. So anyhow, this is Dallas Personal Robotics Group, Robot Builders Night Out, online, virtual. We'll do the usual and go around the table. We have a few things to talk about tonight. The queue so far has Mike W., then Ray, then Mickey, and then kind of like open mic. So without further ado, if you're new to the call, we just know that we recorded. So if you don't want to be recorded, put something in the chat so that we pause it or something. And otherwise, we just record these and show them. And sometimes a lot of people actually like to watch them. So on we go. So we have Mike and then Ray and then Mickey. So Mike, what have you been doing?
Well, I needed an I2C slave on my Pico processor. That's been proving to be real daunting because I was wanting to do it in Python. And when I was working with the driver, well, didn't have a driver, so I had to sort of have to find some code on the line, and it sort of worked. But what the issue was for this slave, well, writing to the slave was easy from the ESP32, but reading from this Pico slave was really hard. And there's a real short, well, there's like a bit that gets set in a register. I'm not sure how to use interrupts in Python. That might help a little bit. But when the bit gets set, you have to write data to a register, and Python just takes really long to do that. And the clock was stretching and the master was timing out. And I couldn't figure out how to change the master timeout for the clock stretch. So I simplified the Python code as much as I could, and I finally got it to read something from the slave, but the code is so minimal that it's not really useful. But this is my little breadboard, and this is my Pico, and it's actually a very tiny version of the Pico with limited pins. And I don't need a lot of pins for this project. And then this is the ESP32C6. And hanging down here is just a sensor I was using to test out the I2C button. So the good thing is I got it to work, but it's not good enough. So I'm switching over. I'm trying to figure out how to run the Pico using C, and I'll just add it to my Visual C, my Visual Studio bin. So I'm in the process of installing that. We'll see what happens. Yeah, because I think when I get C, it should be able to process fast enough and have proper interrupts and keep the clock from stretching hundreds of microseconds. The master didn't like that. Once it got below 100 microseconds, the master was okay.
Huh.
Yeah.
So it's a Pico what?
A Raspberry Pi Pico.
Raspberry Pi, that's what I thought. Okay. Yeah.
But it's not the Raspberry Pi Pico. It's the same processor, the RP2040, but it's some other companies make this miniature version of it, and I thought that was a really cool package. So that's what
I think Adafruit makes a really small version, similar to the Cutie Pie, or I think it's like the Cutie Pie form factor, but I don't know if that relates to the Cutie Pie or not.
One thing I want to check is Murray, our fellow in Australia, they did a I2C slave for the Pico. They were doing a motor controller, and they were doing an I2C slave, and they developed code for that.
Yeah, and I'm assuming it's in C and not Python because
No,
I
I
couldn't find
believe it was in Python. I believe it was Python.
whoa.
So I suggest you check with Murray. That was several years ago, but I did converse with him about that. And anyhow, I'll dig around and see if I can find some information on that. But yeah, they were doing some I squared C on the Pico for their motor controller.
Yeah, because I didn't have any problem with a Raspberry Pi Pico master, but when I turned it to slave, there was absolutely no code for in Python. There was
Yes,
some code in C, but no code in Python.
exactly, and that was my issue. And I conversed with Murray, and he sent me some code for that.
Wasn't that Murray and John Goche who worked on that?
Pardon?
Yeah.
Wasn't that
I think it was,
Murray
yeah.
and John Goche?
Yeah,
Yep.
And this is,
it was back in 2021.
Wow.
and you're
Well,
doing, and you're doing MicroPython, right? Not CircuitPython, because there's a couple of flavors of Python for your Pico.
Right, it was MicroPython.
yeah. Yes.
Now, don't try to take that to the bank. I can't be positive sure of that, but my memory isn't all that good. But I suggest you might converse with him and see what he has. But I think he had something there.
Yeah, so maybe I need to just try a little harder or a lot harder because to get the slave to work, I had to go read the data sheet and compare it with.
It's not trivial, and like I said, they came up with it.
Mhm.
I mean, he was,
Okay,
if I remember right, Dave, he was,
Connecticut, didn't he do some I squared C slave stuff too?
Who?
He's from like the Connecticut area.
Could
I
be.
forget what his name is. He's
Chris Netter.
Chris, yeah, Nutter, yeah. Didn't he do some I squared C slave stuff with I don't know if it was a cutie pie or something else. I know he did it on the Polulu, one of the Polulu platforms. But he had multiple. I think he had a pie on it, and I thought he was trying to do I squared C slave with the 32U4 that's on the I can't think of the Polulu platform. Not the Balboa. I can't think of it. I'll look it up here.
Yeah, like the ESP32 looks like it has a well rung out slave, but I haven't tried it. And the SDK, the master works pretty good, except it times out too easy. I was using the ESP32 as the master. Because my project needs to get a lot of data from the Pico to the ESP32. At a relatively high frame rate, like 50 hertz, a couple hundred bytes.
Yeah, he was using the Romy platform. I just looked it up. Anyway.
Because I'm using the Pico because I'm using the PIO microcoded engine to do an obscure type protocol, wire protocol. Yeah.
All right.
Well, that's what I've been working on,
Well,
and healing up from my surgery. So yeah.
yeah. Okay. Next we had Ray and then Mickey.
Okay. Well, I've been working on redoing my security system, and I had this is a little cell phone module here. It's an older one. That's the SIM card slot, and the front is the actual device. It's I don't know if I can get that close to it. It's a SIM 800L. T-Mobile was supposed to keep 2G, but I think in my area, they're converting towers to 5G, and I had them check signal strength and where I live, and they said you could probably use it outside if you're on a hill, but otherwise it won't work from inside. So I guess it's just too weak or spread too thin. So I ordered a 4G LTE module and got a new SIM card to work with it, but the module hasn't come in yet. So, and the new module has a lot of stuff that the SIM 800 didn't have. Like it's got an 18650 lithium-ion battery circuit on it. You can hook it up, through USB to charge the battery. It's got a socket for a camera. It's got an ESP32 on it, so it's a lot more than what this little module has. But they're still using AT commands to communicate it with it, which is. I was assuming it was from Hayes modem. I don't know, or Hayes modems back in the early 80s. I don't know if anybody else, if there was something before Hayes. I mean, that was when I was, first exposed to it, but there might have been something before. I don't know. Maybe some other telecom equipment or something used AT commands. I don't think it goes all the way back to, Alexander Graham Bell or something, not that far back, but, so. No.
Ask ChatGPT, just because that keeps coming up.
Say that again?
Well, I want to ask if Hayes modems were the first to use AT commands.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Anyway, Adafruit, if anybody's interested in the cell phone modules, the SIM cards from T-Mobile are $5 a month. You get 300 megabytes free if you go over that. I don't know what the charge is, but I don't think I'm ever going to go over it. With the SIM 800, you could send, SMS, but with the newer module, you can send, messages with attachments, and so I could send, small pictures and that kind of stuff, or lower resolution pictures. So
yeah, I use some of those modules for an alarm in Oklahoma, so that if the alarm went off, it would give me a text message when the barn door was open.
Yeah. Same thing here. It would just, and it was, it didn't require a monitoring company or anything like that. And, so that was kind of nice. They were, not coded messages. They were, just short little messages like, Ray, office window open, or service porch door open, or whatever. So it's pretty handy, and it, works anywhere. So, anywhere that you can send a text message to. So it's kind of nice. Pretty handy.
Maybe you can put the link in.
What's that?
Maybe you can put the link into the chat.
For what?
For the module that you like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, ChatGPT did a little research for us here. So this explains that according to the totally unerring ChatGPT,
Yeah.
The HT command set originated with Hayes Microcomputers. Dennis Hayes and Dale Hetherington. They co-founded in the early 80s.
Yeah.
Stands for attention. AT dial tone, blah, blah, hanging up. De facto standard. Yeah. Yeah, so there you go. That's your answer.
I'll be darned.
And we better not ask any other places or we'll get different answers. So
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
The other thing about the characters AT is that they're extremely recognizable as a header to find out whether you to actually do auto baud detection.
Yeah, in fact, that's one of the first things you look at Adafruit's code, and she'll send a bunch of ATs to do to get the baud rate synchronized. So,
Yeah.
yep.
Now the other is that you actually some some of the 18, what is it? my mind went blank. UARTs will auto detect the baud rate by sampling the start pulse, and based on that, we'll set the baud rate.
So something unique about like the ASCII codes for A and T then, or something?
Yeah, there's also the 5.5, and I forget what the other equivalent is, where it's alternating ones and zeros.
Okay, yeah.
There's special patterns that are used. And also in the so-called LIN protocol, what is it? I forget what the LIN stands for, but anyhow, they have a preamble where they hold the line low for a while to indicate that something's coming, and then they start off with a 5.5, 55, and then that's used to auto synchronize.
Anyway, I can show you the.
I'm going with Dave's answer on the details for AT instead of this one.
Well, this is my barn alarm that I took out of the barn. It plugs onto a 12-volt battery, solar charges. So it has that same module and the other module, and it also has a DS 3231 real-time clock. So it knows what time to wake up and send me a status message. It was cool.
You're saying using cellular or Wi-Fi?
Yeah. So underneath this mess here, because I blew up the charging circuit, so I put a new one. But that's where that module is that Ray was showing. And then
the SIM 800L, yeah.
And there's a little connector, tiny connector for an antenna. But yeah.
Yeah, one of the UFLs. That's what this one's got too.
So that was a great project. But I don't own the property anymore, so it's
Just the alarm.
my parts box.
It's cool. Okay. So Ray, is that it?
Yeah, I was gonna show you the module if you want to see it real quick.
Test, are y'all hearing me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was having some microphone issue.
Your downlink is up and working now, Michael.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, this is the new module. So it's got the SIM 7080G on it. It's got an ESP32 on it, a camera connector. It does battery charging, and in fact, the back of it, that tab and that tab, that's meant to hold an 18650 lithium-ion battery. So it's got a lot more stuff on it than the simple SIM module had on it, or the SIM 800L had on it.
It's a lot of nice stuff.
Yep. And it's not too bad as far as price. It was $31.
Yeah, it was about that much a long time ago. Because I bought mine 10 years ago, something like that.
Can you show that title
Yeah.
a little bit longer, Ray, or put the link in the chat?
Oh, okay, sure.
And then what do you do for an antenna?
It actually comes with an antenna, and that's the LTE. I don't know if I can blow that up. It's awfully
There's
small.
antenna I
Let's see if it's got additional. Nope. I thought it had more. Yeah, that's the LTE antenna, GPS antenna, battery, connector, and header pins for the pins that are on the side of it. So, anyway, pretty complete. And there's the little UFO.
connector's really small.
What's that?
The connector is really small for that antenna.
Yeah, yep, they're very small.
You got to be careful not to booger it up.
Oh yeah, they say to put it on once and don't mess with it if you can help it. So
Yeah,
Right.
those SMAs are kind of a weird bird because you can get female, male, reverse polarity female, reverse polarity male, and guess what? None of them fit the other one if you don't got the right all reverse polarity. It's just weird. Confusing.
But these connectors are like micro connectors. They're like the size of a grain of rice. Yeah.
If they're the kind I'm thinking of, they're pretty much meant. They're meant for like factory assembly and not maintenance. So what I learned at Nokia, working on mobile phones, there was that those connectors, they're rated for like 5 insertion cycles. After that, you wear off the plating. So it's meant to assemble, go through the factory line, sell it, and if it gets replaced once or twice, you're good. After that, all bets are off because it's.
I agree. I've ruined one once.
It won't take much.
oh, I think you got the
Probably cost pennies.
Yeah, but the $40 board goes bad.
okay. Yeah, this I think is the same link, but anyway, so that's about it. Adafruit did a bunch of work, and I forget which one it is. I think it's called Fauna Test in one of her examples, and she gives pretty much a full page of options you can do. You don't have to know the code. You can just look up a single letter code, hit that, and like if you want to send a text to someone, it says, oh, what phone number, and then what's your text, and so you just type all that stuff in, and you can check it out pretty quickly to see if you're connecting to the network and that you actually received the text that you thought you sent and all that stuff. And so pretty handy. You can check receive signal strength. You can find out which networks you're connected to. You can get GPS information, what the GPS coordinates are, all kinds of things like that. So pretty handy.
What's the rate plan you say you found? The data plan for T-Mobile?
It's $5 a month for 300 megabytes.
$5.
So it's like
right.
Yeah. It's I guess it's considered, they don't really distinguish between narrowband IoT and category M. It looks like it just depends on the bands that are supported. There's a bunch of different frequency bands that I guess they have set up in different areas. And some of them are 900 megahertz, others are 1400 megahertz. There's 2100 megahertz. But the module lists out all the bands that it supports. Or in the SIM 7080G data sheet. And there's a pretty long list for that module. It seems pretty universal. And different countries support different bands.
But you're not expected to select the band through code, are you?
No, as far as I can tell, when you turn the module on, it tries to connect to the network. So, and it's, whatever bands are available in your area with, I thought with the strongest signal strength, it would connect to.
That's generally my understanding, but as the way I've learned it over a couple places now is that actually the SIM card is the key to the network.
Oh.
So the SIM card, if I understand it right, the SIM card talks to the radio module and learns what its capabilities are, and then the SIM card has a tightly controlled proprietary algorithm no one's going to share with, in terms of, does it go for the nearest strongest signal? How does it differentiate between, like, if I can get on my signal, my own network, but it's a crappy signal, but I can roam on some carrier partner, but it'll be more expensive. So that whole algorithm, I think, is very proprietary for reasons you can imagine, and it's part of that super secret part that's on the SIM card.
Huh.
So from what I understand, the radio module just does what it's told to do based on the the preferred roaming list or something inside the SIM. Or something like that.
My 12-year-old radio module, my 12-year-old radio module only worked on G2, which everyone's keeping for machine-to-machine communications. It was still working even when G3 went belly up.
Yeah, I called about it, but it's pretty much non-existent signal strength now here on the inside the house. I haven't gone outside to test it, but I think they've just spread the 2G so thin that you'd be lucky that you can actually use it out here. So
okay.
Yeah, if I remember right, the kind of underlying physics is that those older protocols were not as efficient with the spectrum, and spectrum's so valuable that's why they wanted to shrink down. They want to pack more data into the spectrum. So the way to do that is to get rid of the old inefficient protocols and codecs.
Yeah. So it's kind of neat. I mean, it's a good way to do telemetry data. It seems fairly reliable. I kept getting messages that T-Mobile was doing work out in this area they said to the towers that you connect to, and my signal strength is, I've got the most number of bars you can have now, whereas before it would kind of fade in and out all the way down to 1, and sometimes no bars, and so they've definitely made improvements. So I can see that, but
your connection to the weekly chat has improved, come to think of it. I mean, you haven't had this dropout in a long time now.
Yeah, I think somebody said my picture looked clearer too, so I guess that's hopefully a reflection of the bandwidth.
No, you just been working out and taking care of yourself. That's all what that's what that is. So
say that again.
I can tell you just been working out and taking care of yourself. That's why you're less fuzzy.
Yeah, right. That's it.
Looking good.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Anyway,
I think next in queue we had Mickey with a mower. And
hang on. Sorry.
feedback.
That's on me. All right.
No worries.
I got 2 main devices. I wanted to make sure. Can you guys hear me now?
We can hear you both ways.
Oh,
so
maybe not.
Just mute one. We can hear you.
Oh, now I can't hear you because I muted the sound. Hang on. This is what I hate, trying to start something new. First of all, I need to know if that fan is really bad, and I still haven't found the menu to get back to the main screen.
Can you hear us?
Speaker. And let me mute this one. Thought I had that one off. All right, I'm going to have to do this.
I'll mute one of yours.
Yes, try that.
Okay.
Try the laptop, maybe. That's
Here.
upstairs.
Oh,
Let me just turn this one off for now. Oh boy, this is
now you're good.
going to be embarrassing because this is recorded.
It's all right.
Let me just
Your
try
audio
this
is
one.
fine now, by the way, Mickey. Can you hear us?
Okay, maybe it's just because I had this one on and this is the one I wanted on, but we'll work with this for now. Is the
That's
fan
cool.
too loud?
No, and I don't hear it at all.
Good, because I need it.
And for whatever it's worth, I muted the other login, so
All right, Zach, awesome.
yeah.
Let me see if I can share this screen, and I'll show you a picture. Don't know if it's showing yet. Come on.
It's trying to share. Oh,
Let's
you're
see.
sharing the phone. It looks like, but not the camera.
That's what I'm trying to share. I guess it won't let me share the camera.
Well,
because
if
I'd
you,
rather show that than
you go to your desktop and open your camera.
The desktop's upstairs. The
Oh, I
garage
mean,
is the wood.
on your phone.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, if I want to do this other camera because it's better than but I can try doing the other camera and just bear with this light that you're going to see.
No worries.
All right, stop sharing.
Oh,
Turn
okay.
this on.
Your phone won't let you.
Let's see if that works. I just can't zoom on this or anything like that. So
That's okay.
all right, so I'm trying to get my perspective. Let me see if I can make it bigger on my other device. Sorry.
We can also pin it. That if we
That
pin
might
it,
help. That might help because then at least I can see what I'm looking at too. Because I'm looking at another phone, unfortunately, which I do want to show off.
Carl, did you pin them or?
I pinned him for the recording, but if you like, I could.
Yeah, well, I want to see it a little bit bigger, I guess, than all the faces, so I can see what I'm looking at, so I can help you guys see what you're seeing. You know what I mean? Because
Well, I'm getting a good picture of your mower.
yeah, I'm trying to see now. I see it. Okay, so those are just ride-on gearboxes for power wheels.
Yeah,
And then this is all Lowe's stuff that I planned on using kind of as support, but it wound up working itself into a totally different configuration than I had started thinking of. And I actually like it because these things are like 14 gauge. And they really just sort of, I don't know if I can show it really good there. But
I know what you're using. Yeah. They're
not even meant for this kind of stuff, but I am going to get like an alternator with like a little slide to adjust this, because as I move the deck up and down, then this gearbox obviously will move up and down, and I need something that can kind of adjust for the fatter part of the gearbox. And so right now it's just zip ties. This is so much better than last year because it was embarrassing, but it was functional. And I've ran into some issues that tape on the wheel is alien tape, just because if you can see that white hub, not the hub that I had the bright white thing, but the dingy white thing, the actual part of the wheel, with this much weight that I've added, it separates from the tread.
Move a little close. Can you move
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let me see. Yeah, like that.
Yeah,
there you go. Yeah, you see that white spins sometimes because now with the added weight, there's too much pressure or whatever right here on the rear. And so the tire spins and the tire stays, the tread stays, but the white dingy part just spins inside. So the alien tape actually holds it together. So I think I'm going to some sort of adhesive or JB weld will do the trick. I just wanted to see how much tension, how much was needed, and not much is needed.
For what
Super
it's
glue
worth,
works
for
good.
what it's worth, RC car enthusiasts use super glue to glue their tire to their hub.
That has been suggested on the Discord forum that you guys have been familiar with. So
Yeah, I mean that's what they use.
I was happy that the tape was able to hold it pretty well. That was encouraging. That means I don't need much. So I think if I can see how much I can pry that up, maybe I can get some glue in there.
Hey, Mickey, is that bright white hub? Is that 3D printed or what is that?
That is actually something I got on Amazon that they use for aftermarket, for these gearboxes, I guess replacement parts or whatever. And I've only got 2 bolts holding it. I was planned on putting 4, and I just wanted to see. Really, a lot of times I tried to see worst case scenario, what could happen. And I know that might not be the best thing, but I could get another wheel. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
Whoops, I'm way off. I'm sorry. I'm too busy not looking at the screen. It functions. It's not pretty. And I know that the connections are quick connects. I'm going to get proper connectors and everything like that. But I was happy that at least it works. And now I can possibly start looking at maybe a motor controller and, something. Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, I was curious. It looks like you have a lift on the side. Is that just a platform on your structural steel? No. Move over. More to your right. Right. Yep.
It's the mast.
Oh, it's the mast?
It's the mast for like the RC receivers on top there, right?
Yeah. Let me see if I can get a better look.
No, I was really thinking about the white spot, the yellow thing. What's the yellow thing in the?
Oh, those are DeWalt batteries. That's for an adapter for the DeWalt batteries. I'm sorry.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah,
right.
I'm sorry. That's not a good look. I can't get a closer look at it.
Yeah, no, I got it.
Yeah.
I got it now.
Okay.
I see it. Yeah.
Shoe that the battery slides into or something.
Yeah, exactly. They're also on Amazon, so everything's from Lowe's and Amazon. And that was something I really wanted to do. I know it's not pretty. I mean, these are twist straps. I don't know if you guys know what those are. They aren't. They were meant to be to bring the structure, like the metal structure up front. Let me get a better look here, so that I could have a front go 4-wheel drive. So I was going to use the twist straps because they're perfect for bringing that stuff, forward. But then I kind of thought I really wanted to elevate the receiver and protect it, and it just sort of thought, why not try it? And yeah, it ain't pretty, but I'm going to cover it all anyway with something like plastic or wood or like try and form something over it. I don't know. I can't see it. Oh, and I wanted to show off my my wrist strap. Let's see if I can.
Hey.
Cool. I don't know. I figured I can't see my picture now. I can't see it at all. Right? Somehow.
Yeah, we can see it. You got it right.
Yeah, it's also the fold. So.
Whoops, and now.
So it flips open. So. Yeah. So I wanted to show that off. I figured Ray. I saw him when he came out with his and his chick magnet, and I was like, well, I got to show this when I get a chance. So I don't know how well that's showing, but.
Yeah.
Anyway,
cool.
I think that's it. I'm going to stop recording. I don't know how to get out of this.
I really like the use of the 2x4s to help stabilize everything.
Yeah.
Every robot needs some wood.
That's all pressure fit in there right now because it worked.
It's not even bolted to the deck?
The only thing, the grass catcher had 2 bolts. So I have a flat rail that I have connected to those 2 bolts. And then I put the square rail on to that flat rail, later on down in there. So I haven't had to drill a single hole yet, not even in the sheet metal. It's all been, and now some of it's a little crooked because of the way they do that, but I was happy with that. And I don't have a problem drilling into it, but it was somewhat of a challenge. I wanted to see if I could, I'm stubborn that way.
Well, we didn't see it moving yet, but I think this is Mickey's first time showing us something, and there's a black star in it, I think.
That's true.
There's got to be.
Well, I can get it moving. I don't know how well I can record it now. I will be able to record it next week for sure and have a recording with it moving. But I did want to kind of get some thoughts. Like if it, I mean, I'm proud of it for a first attempt at anything like this. It got me into RCs just doing the research last year. I got hooked on crawlers now, and that's a fun hobby. And I never even was interested in that stuff, so I've never played with this stuff. And you know, it's exciting. It's so big, exciting.
Cool. It's cool. So what are your aside from the wheel slip tread to hub? What kinds of challenges do you see next? Is there anything we can help you with?
Right now, the big thing I want to at least have you guys start thinking about is, because of my traction issues, I'm really leaning toward having 4 individual ESCs. Right now it's 2 left and right, and they could power the front, but when one side loses traction, the other side's just going to get the same amount of voltage. So if I increase voltage to get out of that, then the one that's slipping is also going to increase, and it could just, I don't know. I mean, it might get it out, or it just might dig even deeper, and it might be nice to be able to have independent control. And I'm just wondering if that's just a rabbit hole I should not go down. I'd rather start thinking about it early rather than just go in with this one, then trying to adjust later. If it's, I mean, worth considering for like traction control.
Do you have a motor on each wheel?
Right now I have one on just the back. I do plan on going 4-wheel drive.
Okay.
And the plan was these ESCs will, and that is what I'm using, is 2 ESCs. It will support 2 motors on each side, you know, so I can pair them together. The front, you know, the left side and the right side.
Okay, they're like RC car ESCs, so that they don't. Do they have encoders? I bet not.
They do not, and that's the next challenge. I still think I want to try 4-wheel drive first, just because at the very least it will help in general, just with the RC part. If I run into too many challenges with the coding and all that, I mean, that could be. I mean, that I can anticipate making this thing a robot could be 2 or 3 year challenge, maybe 5 years. You know, I'm hoping closer to 2, but you know, as far as being all fully automated, we're probably talking 5, 7. You know, I mean, let's be honest. So maybe longer. But I'd like to be able to get it to do things like cruise control. Is what I'm really looking for right now. Is getting a motor controller in there so that I can use the rotary dials on my flight controller to set kind of like a constant speed for each one, kind of a straight line. I might need to make course adjustments, and I can use the joysticks to nudge it here and there. And then when it comes to the end of the pass, I just flip a switch and that turns it off, and I just take over and turn it and then flip it back on, and it kind of has a cruise control. I'm not sure if it's going to work out, but I'm thinking it should be possible.
Cool.
Because it should just be able to just keep that signal steady. But anyway, that's it.
Yeah, that's very good. Nice start.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I have something to share when they get a.
Okay. If you're ready, I think you're up.
All right, I'm going to share. I've got some toys in during my intergalactic travels that I picked up, and I'm going to share a screen. Entire screen.
Oh, yeah. I see Mike's back in the shuttle.
Yeah, I'll show you why here in a minute.
You mean the wife didn't kick you out?
Not yet.
Hopefully you got a good air conditioner in there.
Yes, I do. Let's see.
Well, he wouldn't want any heat to leak out into the vacuum of space.
It's not letting me share. Wait, let me share. Share screen.
Click
Or
on
he wouldn't want the
click
crushing
on the-
pressure of 4,000 psi to come inside on him. But
Yeah. Click on the icon that shows the screen. If you don't click actually on the icon, you won't go to the next mode.
It says you must grant permission in order to share screen share. Where's that? I'm on my a laptop that I don't ever use very often.
why would I have to?
Let's see.
Ooh, this is new.
That is a new one.
This is new. Okay, go to Windows. Go to Window. The other ones at the top, you have Chrome tab and you have window and you have entire screen. You could use you probably could use either window or entire screen, but you can see that at least on mine, the meat is in the upper. This is the first selection. Do you see the screen?
Okay, I got window. It says it won't let me in. What's going on here?
Well,
Bad.
can you tell Michael, is it an issue to the meeting or is it an issue with your
it's
computer?
Mine was right in. Mine came right in.
Probably my, I'm Mr. Linux guy, so.
Oh, okay. Well,
I can run this thing, so. Hold on here.
The dialogue you described sounded like a local computer permissions thing.
Yeah, it sure did, so. Oh well, let's see.
actually, Carl, it's new. If you go click on share, you'll see that it's got a new look. They must have updated it somewhere.
Well, yeah.
Mine says Chrome tab, window, and an entire screen.
I get that too. And in the lower left is tab audio, but
if you're on Chrome tab, you don't see anything.
I think he wasn't even getting to that.
Firefox.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so.
Okay.
All right, so.
What can you, Mike?
Well, I'm trying to share the screen. It's a photograph, but
I got
what I'll do is I will. Where am I at? Okay. Let me see if I can. That did any good? No.
Well, open another one.
Okay, you see my beard? All right, I'll switch cameras. Yeah. I'm going to do it this way. Okay.
Hey, well,
Don't just okay.
Try to share. You might, with the new camera, you might have permissions.
Nope. I can do it this way because I was going to show you a picture, but this one I'll just use I'll just use this webcam.
You're going like the analog loophole.
Yeah.
All right. So I got some new toys, like I said in my intergalactic travels.
Whoa.
And I just got me.
A mini
a little bench top lathe, and then I got a little bench top milling machine there. See that?
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
Oh man, I'm in heaven now.
Yeah.
There's a little drill press in the back, and I'm fixed up a little table here that I got, and I put some wheels on it so that I can roll it around in my space shuttle if I have to. So that's what I got, and I'm having fun. And man, I'm using this mill right now during the meeting. So I'm machining some square tubing, 1-inch square tubing on it right now. So there you go, man.
Wow, that's a big upgrade.
Yes, big upgrade. So during my robot challenges, if I can machine parts now that I didn't used to be able to do, which I'm a machinist by trade, so this is right up my alley. So anyway, I just wanted to share that. And
well, let me know how that lathe goes, how much you like it.
I haven't used.
It's like the next machine that we need for our shop.
This you got to realize this stuff's that Chinese junk. So
yeah, it's all right.
This lathe I got from I got this off of Amazon. A Vihor, and it's a $500 lathe. Now that milling machine comes under all kinds of different brands. It's another Chinese thing, but I actually bought it from Home Depot because
I didn't know Home Depot had it.
Well, I didn't
have to, or do you? What's it in the store?
The reason why I did that is because I could go down and pick it up with my pickup instead of them dumping it off when I wasn't here.
Yeah.
And so that way, anyway, I'll tell you what.
So was it a special order?
No, you just go to their website and type in benchtop milling machine. It costs $930. So $1,000 after taxes. So that ain't bad, you know.
No.
So anyway, that's what I want to share.
They didn't stock it in store, did they? Or did they?
No, they had to ship. I had to wait a couple of days for them to ship it over.
Huh. Sounds like Home Depot's branching out, maybe.
Well,
can you give us a quick look? I mean, go over there with your camera.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I bet you could have ordered that similar machine from Walmart. It just took a couple of days to show up.
Absolutely. The thing is they have a forklift, and I wanted them to load it on my truck on the forklift. So, you know, I could have got this same kind of lathe from Harbor Freight.
No, you don't want that one.
Same kind of mill from Harbor Freight.
Yeah, you don't want that one. You made a good choice. Those mills come in all sorts of varieties of the same thing, and the Harbor Freight one does not get good marks.
So, well, this one I actually found out that I'm probably going to have to upgrade the motor already to get more horsepower.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many YouTube videos on upgrading these mills that before I get through with it, it'll end up being a CNC more than likely. But what did you want to see, Doug? Did you want to?
Well, I'm just kind of glancing around. I just see what you got, and
I got the vise on there kind of whomper jaw right now because
I got it.
You know how big that part is I got in it?
Yeah.
I'm making that part for my depth finder for my boat. It's a depth finder now. So
yeah, I think the first thing, if I had this, I think the first thing I would look at getting would be ER32 collet to fit into your spindle.
I got I already got the collet.
Okay. Yeah.
R8. That comes with an R8.
Oh, okay. R8 works too. Yeah, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that.
That actually comes with it. So I've already got a set of collets. Okay. And the thing I'm probably gonna have to find a metal, some steel plate, put on top of this table, and then bolt them down. So, but I got some collets. And
have you ever? I know, Mike, you're a machinist by trade. Okay, so this might not be good, but there's a channel on YouTube called Blondie Hacks.
Blondie
Hacks. Blondie Hacks, isn't it?
Yeah, BLONDI. Hacks.
Yeah. She's
very good.
Her name is Quinn, and she actually, if you look at her CV up, you can see that she's done a lot of electronic stuff, but she moved in. She became, I guess, a hobby machinist, and she's very thorough, and she takes you through all sorts. There's a gazillion useful videos on her channel. Sometimes she goes off and does something like make a steam engine, but other than that, but she has all sorts of training, all sorts of kind of like techniques for those type of mills, like, because they're gonna, because it's lighter, there's stuff you got, things you have to kind of do. So you might find that a really useful,
I'm not opposed to looking at stuff because it's just like in any trade or whatever. You learn, look, how old you get, you learn something new all the time from some of other people. Or you've done something your whole life and go, oh, I never done it that way.
Yeah.
So, I already looked her up. I'm looking at her right now.
Okay, cool.
I'd like to put a collet attachment on that lathe, actually, on the spindle. And they make them.
Yeah.
Because most of the stuff I'm going to be doing is definitely like under 1 inch or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, if you got R8, you're fine. I mean, I wouldn't put that on my top of the list I was just saying that you had I was afraid it might be a Morris taper, which is a pain in the butt.
Yeah, yeah, it's not. No, actually, I checked that out before I ever bought it.
Yeah.
But for the lathe, they've got those other style of I forget the name of that taper on there.
Mm-hmm.
For the spindle on the lathe, not the mill. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
I think I know what you're talking about, and I actually put one on my little lathe. I have a
Are they
real old
steam
lathe.
pellets?
No,
No?
they're the ER. The one I put on was the ER32, and
Yeah.
but you got to do some machining if you're going to you have to kind of basically make a faceplate for the collet, and so you have to do some machining before you can mount it. That came out really well. I was really happy with it. But
So is it like a fine thread that you have to do on the faceplate?
No. On my mill, my particular lathe, which is an old Atlas 6, it has the spindle nose is 1 inch with 10
threads per
10
inch.
TPI, yeah. So it's an oddball thread. And you can buy the spindle with that thread already done for you. So that's great, but you still have to have it so that when it mounts up against when you mount the spindle, that it's true. So anyway, it takes a little bit of work, but if I can do it, it's got to be simple.
I'm going to paint this off of Amazon. I wish I could present my page, but anyway.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I'm talking about. It's a chuck that mounts right to my existing faceplate on my spindle. After I take the chuck off,
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's a ER32.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, ER32. But I might get that for my lathe.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
now I'll tell you on that lathe right there, the 32 is a good. When you go look, they're okay. ER type collets. They come in a lot of different sizes. I think the smallest you're probably running is 11, and then there's 16, and then there's 25, then there's 32, and there's 40. Well, the collets that will fit in those different sizes cover a specific range of sizes. And a 32, for most people, I think it goes like from 1/8 up to 1 inch or something like that. But you can look up the scales for each one. And on my small mill, which is smaller than your mill, I have an ER25, and then on my lathe I have an ER32. So
okay. So the ER32 stands for how large the collet outside.
The 32 tells you. Otherwise, if you go out and Google ER collet sizes or collet ranges, I think it'll give you the different ranges for the different ones. What you don't want to end up with is one from, like everything is all different. And so I don't know if you, on that page, if you look at the top, okay, you see those little hex 32 collet block up there for $44?
Where's that at on my page?
Well, I don't know. I think aren't you showing this? Wait a minute. I don't know maybe I pulled it up accidentally.
Somebody else showed one. No. Oh, that's Blondie Hack.
Oh, okay.
No, I posted a web.
Oh, okay. The website that you posted, when it comes up on mine, it shows 3 suggestions. Okay. And you see on the side there that has the hex block. Well, you see it's a size 32 also.
Okay, right.
Now you need to really, when you buy collet sets for it, you really need to be very careful because there's some really super cheap, not very good collet sets available. And it's one of those things like you can pay a little bit and they're not so good, you can pay a lot and they may be good, or you can pay even more and they're good, you know? So you have to watch that, the collet sets. That's the little one that's over there, that's $75.
Yeah. Yeah, when I bought my collets and stuff for this mill,
Yeah.
I bought all the cheap ones, you know, because, you know, I'm not rich.
Yeah. Well, the only thing I would suggest then is you might want to put a dial indicator and just make sure you don't have any super bad ones. Because what might happen is you might have one that you don't want to use. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you probably see it with your eyeball too. So
yeah.
Well, all right. Well, thanks, Doug. Yeah, I'm looking at different collet sizes in the ER collets. So
yeah.
So, Michael, what is this going to mean for all that super colorful 3D printing stuff you've been doing? Are you going back to basics with the milling machine now and the lathe, or are you going to still 3D print in color?
Oh yeah, this is just to enhance my creativity.
You got to have both the positive and the negative.
Right. No, in fact, I'm still 3D printing some gears right now. So, but that's in the main shop now. Main shop back in the house. This is my, this is the machine shop now. Yeah. So yeah, no, I'm still working on that robot arm with gears and stuff. And
all right.
I probably will make some hubs, some metal hubs. I'll probably do aluminum hubs for maybe one of the biggest gears or something. So it won't strip out. You know how people, so we'll try that. Or if I make a hub or something for my projects, I'll share it next time. So.
That's cool. Yeah, Mike, some inspiration is if you go out to Pololu and look at the hubs that they have to put on their wheels, little piece of aluminum that's 3/4 of an inch and has 2 diameters on it and a hole drilled in it, and it costs you, $6 or $7. Well, those are something you could turn out on your new lathe.
Oh yeah,
and enjoy it.
And I can go down to metal supermarket and buy some stock. Their metal's down there. I don't know if y'all heard of that, but they're local and they're really cheap on stuff. I mean, they're very reasonable on their prices, and they'll cut material to length without charging you.
Yeah, but I
find them a little pricey, actually.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
What?
I've found them a little pricey.
Really?
Especially for the small pieces that I need, just the little pieces that I need. They do have some cutoffs. They have a cutoff section.
Yeah.
And you can get it. There's I can't think of his name. C&W Surplus that's over on Beltline in Richardson. That one has they cover small amounts of metal too, and they're very, very, very reasonable. Where are you, Mike?
I'm in a place called Kennendale, which is north of Mansfield. I'm over here in Fort Worth area.
Okay. That would be really far for you. Any money that you saved at there, you would spend in gas. So the nice thing about that is they do have a nice selection.
I'm 10 minutes from the one in my neighborhood. So.
I'm about the same. I mean, I can get up there really quick.
So that's good to know. A lot of times when you buy something off of Amazon, it ain't cheap either.
No.
Or there's a good scrapyard down in Mansfield too, west of Mansfield. I can go rummage around in.
Yeah. Now over here on this side of town, we have I think it's called Garland Steel, and I don't know. Anyway, there is one they actually will allow you to go out on the thing and pick through the stuff, and they're very reasonable. But
Yeah, they charge you by the pound.
Yeah. Have you been there, Dave? You go there very often?
I haven't probably been there in 5 years, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And
So, Mike, maybe we can convince Karim to radio control some of his stuff, and you go over to that round-around dirt track over there in Kennedale and get us some access, and we run our robots together or something.
The closest I get to the racetrack is hearing it every Saturday night from my house.
Yeah, they ain't got no mufflers on those things, so that don't mean you're real close. So,
You talking about Texas Motor Speedway?
no,
It's Kennedale track.
Kennedale
Oh,
track.
okay.
It's a dirt track, round around, sideways. I got a brother-in-law who does really, really well in the modified boat things going through the Texas circuit, and I see him every Saturday night just beating the hell out of everybody with this little VW buck. It's pretty funny. It's awesome. Anyway,
You have a drag strip too. I think it's gone now.
yeah. Saw people bring in their, you know, they drove it off the lot brand new down to the drag strip and blew it. Never mind. I'll shut up. Doesn't matter. I'm just waxing on.
I'll tell you a little nice thing about this mill is the Z-axis, the whole head comes off. It's one big bolt. It swivels like this in the back. So I was able, instead of having to bug my neighbors, I was able to take the Z-axis off and go my wagon, and then put the table on my wagon and turn it over here to the spaceship. Without having it. That's kind of cool. So this
that is nice.
Power lifted it back up?
No, I just lift up one piece at a time and put it on this table I got it sitting on, and it's got one big old bolt, man, about, yay big. I mean, nut. Got one big old nut. And they do that so you can, angle the head if you need to.
Tram the head.
Yeah, for angle cuts, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're not all like that. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you got months and months of toy here.
Oh, not about it.
Yeah.
But I haven't thrown away my 3D print and stuff. That's real pretty useful stuff too.
Yeah.
But I won't be getting any little laser cutters or nothing like that, because there's my money right there poured into that. So.
Well, my laser cutter just had gone down. I bought a new tube, and I thought that's what it was. Well, now it looks like it was either the tube and the power supply, or it was the power supply, and I just took out a tube that worked. I don't know. So it's a mess. I'm gonna, it's almost for the price of those 40-watt lasers. If it doesn't work, it's almost worth it to just go buy a new one.
Seriously? Wow.
Well, tube costs $200. Power supply is about $80. So, and that's pretty much it. So, if you can buy one for $350,
So what happens with the tube? Does it crack or something?
Well, there's two types of tubes. One type of tube that they kind of glue the back end onto it. So eventually, what happens there is whatever they put inside the tube leaks out.
Some gas, argon or whatever.
Yeah. And then there's another type that is a sealed glass tube, and those work really. They'll last a lot longer, and I believe what kills them is either the getter exhausts itself, or the gas itself, does changes. But the most common failure mode for these tubes is somebody forgets to turn they have a water circulation failure. And when water, if you turn it on and the water isn't circulating, you got about 2 seconds, and it'll blow itself. It's no good in after that.
That's like an outboard motor.
Yeah.
If you run it without being in the water, it didn't take long to burn that little pump up.
Yeah.
So it's got to have that water to cool it,
Lubricate it. Yeah.
lubricate it, and cool it. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Charles, you've raised your hand.
Yeah, I got some stuff to talk about whenever we have a break, so I didn't want to
All right.
be too terribly rude like normal. I'm trying to take a break from normal, not trying to be rude.
That's all right. Michael, are you are you good for now, or more?
Sir, I'm done.
Okay,
I'm done showing.
you're up, and then it's open mic.
Okay, cool. So what you're gonna want to do? You're gonna want to pin me because I've got a thing to show off that I've got. You could call it a rant, but it's not. It's a little rant. I'm finding some things to help me be better, but it's still a rant nonetheless. Okay, so we're gonna start here, and actually I'm gonna get a little closer. So I 3D printed this thing up so I could have a way to start messing with some of the sensors and not have to hold it with my hand. Because, I mean, if you ever played with some of the IMUs, you're just doing this number next to an IMU will change your sensor and stuff, and I wanted to eliminate all of myself. So what's here is one of these optical flow sensors. It's a PAA 5100 JEQ or something. Pimoroni. Again, thanks to Murray for talking to the Pimoroni guys. This is up close. I have on the side of this thing, I've got a way where I can change the distance and measure it, but I've not even messed with the distance to check it right now. I just got it up and going, and that was a pain in a bunch of ways because all the libraries that I found don't work so well or are so complicated that something's gone crazy. So, I'm going to leave that there. I got a little Metro here that I've got it all wired up, and I got a very simple sketch. I found a repository out there that took the 3901, which is the long range flow meter, and added the code for this one. And then even with that, I'm going to have to make my own because they're not taking PRs, and I found a slight bug, and I'm not so certain the guy didn't put it in on purpose because I looked at the diffs and he put the diff in there with a bad compile error. Why the person do that? I don't know. Just telling you what I see. So, and you're like, okay, that's well and good, Harold, but let's see what we got going on here. So what you're going to do is I'm going to move myself, and so you'll see me, and on the left-hand side, you see where my hands are waving. You can see the object right there. And if you look down in the lower right-hand corner here, left-hand corner, you'll see a bunch of things scrolling up. And you'll see X and Y are 0 because the thing is indeed not moving. So if I move the thing just a little bit, and you see how a little bit I'm moving this thing, I'm getting numbers. What these numbers actually mean, I don't know yet. They're supposed to have 16 bits of resolution, but I haven't tried to move the thing very far or very fast because I just didn't get it working. And I haven't done any kind of calibration of all that kind of stuff. So, and this is polling. They've got a mode in here that is supposed to trigger a pin when it senses motion, so then you can go read the values that mode. So right now, this is just straight up polling. You see the loop right above the serial monitor. That's all it's doing. Is just read the motion, print it out. Wait 100 milliseconds, do it again. So we got some planning to do, but you see I get both positive and negative numbers, and there's a good bit of stuff. So I do I did get this going, and it was kind of a pain, but we finally did get it going. And here's my problem that I have now, is that you find folks are awesome spelunkers and all that kind of stuff, and where did it go? There it went. So I said, how can I deal with this? Because your friend on all of this stuff is a data sheet, right? That tells you how the chip works and how the thing does and how you do what you do. Now, this is Pixar, the people that make the chip. This is their data sheet. I looked all over part. There's some more information in another bit of source code, but we'll leave that alone for the moment because this has got to be the worst data sheet that's ever been. And why might you say that? Well, you're like, well, Harold is giving you like voltages and ranges and stuff, and even gives you some mechanical drawings, and it gives you what all the pins, the pin out, and that's wonderful. And it gives you the operating stuff that's going on that you need to do. Like, for instance, this thing will do a 1.8 volt. So a lot of the stuff is running 1.8 volt or starting to. This chip will work off of that, which is all cool and wonderful. And so there's the 1.8 VDD thing there going there and all that kind of stuff. Supply noises, working height, the speeds. So at 25, look at that. It Z's at 25 millimeter, basically an inch on carpet, gray vinyl, or replicated wood surfaces, which is a lot of stuff. This thing will do 45 inches per second and track it. That's the maximum, of course. And 45 inches per second is pretty quick, I think, by any measure of it. I'm like, okay, cool. With a 4%, with a 0.4% error rate at that as well. So I'm like, that's pretty cool. All right. So what could be wrong with this data sheet you're seeing? You got even more of that kind of stuff. You got even some more data that you need, and timings and milliamps and all that kind of stuff. And you even have mechanical drawings and specifications again. What more could be the problem, Harold? I know. I'm just, you're waiting in suspense.
Well, go up, Harold.
I think it was the Crimson Carpet because that's not been out since the 80s. So.
Yeah.
Does it say, so it has to have a lens?
It does have a lens and it's built in on it. It's all on this breakout board. There's nothing you need to add to it. It also includes, it's kind of hard to see, 2 LED lights on either side of the camera for illumination.
Okay.
Includes all that on a $25, $30 board.
Yeah.
This isn't Pimoroni's data sheet, is it?
No, this is not Pimoroni's data sheet. No.
Yeah.
This is the company that makes the chip.
Yeah.
So this is their module, right?
This is their module, and Pimoroni made a breakout board for us.
Okay, so
Pimoroni has the source code examples and stuff like that.
Okay.
Does have some Python examples.
They have Python. Yeah.
I'm just curious, what type of angle are the LEDs set at?
They, here, I can show you right fast. They are straight down.
Straight down? Okay.
So
there's no attempt to do a low angle light?
It's kind of hard to see because they're blasting right in that camera. But they're focused straight down on the diagonals of one of the diagonals of the module.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So whatever could you be whining about, Harold? Because you've been whining for like 27 hours now, right?
Yeah, that sounds like it.
There's your lens that goes in, and it's all put together. And that's all wonderful. Whatever could you be whining about? We even have schematics. Look, you see what little bit of schematics you actually need to make this thing work. You need you need a resistor and some capacitors to flatten out your voltage, and that's pretty much it. For doing what it's doing. I think that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then, look, we even have registers. So registers do things, right? And some of it makes sense, like where there's a motion. I don't know what read-write on a motion means. You got delta X high and low, delta Y high and low, makes sense. I don't know what SQL is. For instance, I can guess shutdown is shutting the thing down. In resolution, we can set the resolution of this thing, which is way cool because it's got a low resolution camera that's doing all this stuff on there, right? And then nothing. So I don't know what resolution I can use. I don't know what frames per second I can do. I don't know how I can set the shutter. I don't know how I can do any of those registers and what ones I need to set up to actually make this thing work. I got none of it.
I mean, Pimoroni they've utilized that module, and they probably changed, or, as far as they should specify what the calibration is. I mean, they probably picked the lens and all that stuff.
You're right. More than likely, you're right. But I can find no information anywhere that tells me what those registers actually do, and what numbers are valid. Now, saying all that, I just did because I was sitting over here poking around, and there is a couple of open source projects out there that do the 3901, which is the older brother of this, and the PA 5100, and most of them, some of them actually have some of the headers that say a couple things. Some of them have comments, but most of them are doing nothing but slamming hex codes into this thing that have no definition whatsoever. So that's why I'm complaining right now, and I'm making a valid complaint. So
I got a question just to make sure I understand this. RO means read only, and WO means write only.
I'm assuming
probably, yeah,
and read write. So a lot of them are read only,
and that's okay, right?
That means you can't set them.
Yeah, exactly. I don't care about about those. But look at the one where it says resolution. It's read write. What values can I be? I don't know.
Hey Harold, I think you got an easy solution. Mark off an inch on your, underneath your platform, and either like a 1-inch cube, move it 1 inch and see what readings you get.
Yeah, I got to go and have to do the calibration, and when we actually put this in a robot, we're going to have to, we probably should set it down and run it on whatever surface we're about to run it on over a known distance. And that should give me my clicks per inch or whatever that is, right? And then, and I think that's going to be a good deal. My really rant is I'll eventually figure out what all these are from various pieces and parts. But you would think the people who make this would actually give you information to allow you to actually use the thing that they make. That's kind of where I was going.
Well, at least they ought to have orientation defined.
They should have an application note.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Well, it looks like they provided you with code examples there. You got it running in the background, right?
No, I've got it running in the background. They didn't provide this. Somebody else who's copied something, that from something else that then modified it is actually what I'm running right here.
When you look at, do they set up the registers?
Oh yeah, they do. Let me see if I can show you.
So you should be able to get some values off of that.
Oh yeah, and I would think you would be correct. However, some of this is pretty good. Like this is some of the code from not this code that I'm running, but a very similar one, right? And now we have some of that because they did a little of that. But let me.
Have you tried their web support portal?
I have not tried that yet.
Yeah, but slide down. I thought I saw some settings for resolution.
Yeah, you did. And this is from an open source piece of software that has nothing to do with Pimoroni, and this is a ZIC 95, whoever that is. And there's a setting for resolution. And I just found this literally while I was waiting to talk.
Okay.
Like right there, and look at that value mess between 0 and 168, which the 168 makes sense because it's a power of 2, right? And we got a nice square thing, right? That makes some kind of square going on there. Not a power of 2, it's a square of some sorts, right? So that makes sort of sense.
But then
Yeah, it looks 158 is or 168 is the default value. Is that what I see there?
Anything, basically, according to this comment, anything 168 is default if you don't set it, right? That's exactly right. So, and that's pretty good, and some of that's kind of okay. But look at this, the setup routines that they've got going on, and this is wonderful. This is part of this is wonderful. Again, this is all source code. So we have a top. We got an enum. And we got a top of all these things with all the registers all let out, and you got the drive and all that. That's kind of nice. That's kind of nice. Yeah. But then when they go to initialize everything, they do that.
Wait a minute, whoa.
Exactly.
Read register address aux send. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Drops is just a method they're calling to send something down the SPI.
Yeah. Right. So.
So, can you figure this out? Sure. Should I have to be doing that? No, they've already got them defined. How about you use the definitions and let's do that?
Well, but this is, this is better than a lot of things I've seen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I agree with you. I'm going to agree with you on that one. And am I whining? Yeah, I'm whining.
Okay.
Maybe I should be whining, but I am.
Yeah, but I think this is whatever this is. I think you got to, Mark. You might want to keep this link.
Yeah, I'm keeping hold of this one. I couldn't get this code to run on it for some reason, and I don't know why. I can go try it again. It was just literally.
Did they have any examples? If you go to the source, is there?
Yeah, they do got a couple examples, and when I was running the example on this one, which some of it's kind of really cool. I've got some of these examples on here, and when I fired this example,
that's Arduino.
Yeah, I'm running on it. That's what I'm running it on.
Oh.
Yeah, I said it's just a Metro, but it's our Adafruit's Metro.
Okay. So frame sync. Okay.
So this frame sync right here is actually pretty cool because the idea of this one, if I can go look and see. You can set the frames per second on it.
Yeah.
So what it can do, you can go ask, give me a frame, and it gives you back an array of stuff. Then you can use that to display that on either use it for other kind of things.
Okay.
Play it on a display somewhere.
But in actuality, you're only going to be using delta X and delta Y.
Yeah, that's really, I think for all intents and purposes, that's what we want.
Yeah. You just want to make sure the other things are not set to some weird wrong
thing and give me some off stuff, right?
Yeah. So and it looks like they have an interrupt example.
And I would really like to use the interrupt instead of polling this thing to death.
Mm-hmm.
If that gives me what I care about, if it detects, I don't know if there's a motion detection threshold. Right, so we got to figure that out and see what that is, and hopefully that's going to be well enough where I can just, if it moves, it gives me some signal, and I go read the values. Right, that'd be the preferred.
Where is the ISR?
Oh, let's go see here.
There it is. It's called digital. Wait a minute.
Digital pin to interrupt. Calls that's the OF motion pin, and we're going to do a motion read on change. So this thing, where is our motion read on change? Motion read. So it says, okay, let's go read the motion flag, and it's going to set a flag high and get out of the ISR. So in the loop here, if we have a read motion flag, then we're going to do that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think it's going to be cool. I think I've just had to really, I mean, it shouldn't have been this hard to get it going on the thing. And the Pimoroni stuff is all in Python. And currently, I couldn't get some Python to compile on Thonny on my Windows. It wants to do wheels, which only supposedly compiles on Linux, which I didn't have my Pi 400, which I have set up now to maybe do some of that.
And I'm like, okay, we need to make a decision here. I can't be bouncing around between two operating systems and 3 computers to get a robot to go straight. You know.
So your intent is to do this on your Metro board, right?
No, the Metro board that I have is to make sure that it works. My intent is to on HugoBot, my mechanical wheeled robot, is to put that on there and then sense that and do some coding to be able to sense this thing and help me do the can 6 can.
Yeah, but I mean, where is the? Are you?
This is just this overview here.
Yeah, are you going to do it in Python or in C?
And C.
Okay, all right. So you're going to do it. You're going to do it on an Arduino board, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And I've got lots of 2040s. I've got a bunch of different types of Arduinos. The HugoBot right now is already being coded up in C, and it's an ESP32 base board that's doing what it's doing. And if I need to add another board, I can. You know, that kind of stuff. I got a feeling some of this is going to be some extra stuff.
This is going to be really interesting, Harold. You know, because I think if you did this, I think you'd be the first successful one I've seen in the club. You know, I mean, and you got better sensors than what other people were using. They were having to try to. At the time that I saw the examples, they were using stuff from mice. Old.
Yeah.
Computer mice.
Yeah, essentially, it's the same sort of thing because there's a scan and there's a little bit of LiDAR thing in there scanning. And there's also a temperature built onto the thing, so you can do temperature compensation. And but how it's going to affect it? Yes.
One thing to watch out for is that it'll give you motion, but it won't give you angle.
Absolutely. I'm going to explore the B&O 085s and the B&O 055s to handle that particular issue.
Okay.
So my thought on that is if we can use the simplest possible thing so I know where forward starts. I don't care if it's actually north or kind of north or something, just as long as it's stable when we start the thing, so I can track 90-degree turns in the Foursquare and sort of where the goal is on the 6 can.
Well, you can also use 2 of these sensors to give you your angle, and you can compare that against the IMU.
Yeah, you're right. We could have 2 of these things because you would get an angle between them, and you'd get a delta X and delta Y, and all that stuff off. So they're.
That's what we were planning to do.
Yeah. That's right. You need a pair to do angle stuff.
So, Kareem, did you guys use this successfully? I'm just curious.
No, it wasn't fast enough for us.
Yeah, it does have a speed limit.
The maximum speed limit was too low for us.
I think I did some calculations and stuff, and I probably missed a thing and didn't carry the one or something along that ways. And I came out that this thing is good to about 2.5 miles an hour before you run out of it. And I feel pretty strongly that Kareem's bot, when it gets up and moves really fast, way faster than that. And I could have been off on my math, so I need to go double check all that.
Yeah. Okay. No,
it's 42, 45 inches per second seems about right from what I remember.
Yeah.
How often can you sample it?
Right now, you're seeing me sample it 100 milliseconds a pop. But I think probably the data sheet might actually tell us that.
Yeah, I'd probably want a little higher speed than 100 milliseconds.
I want to agree with you.
Yeah. So, but it'd be anyway, it'll be cool because
Yeah, it could, I think it could be real cool. I agree, and we'll see how well it works. Well, how well I can make it work, which is not necessarily indicative of how well the thing works. But
oh, I know what I wanted to ask you, Harold. On the camera they have on that one, on that chip, on that data sheet that you saw, what did they give as the resolution of the camera?
well, according to the source code that I had there, the resolution that you can set a resolution number to 168. So what's the square root of 168?
Okay, all right.
That's what I would assume. Let me see if
That's about. I want to say that those cameras are usually pretty small.
Yeah, it's not a high resolution. That is for true.
So and those are like, if you have an image that's looking at a pattern and then that pattern completely moves off the camera, then I don't think it knows. You have to sample it fast enough that you can always catch it before it moves completely off the thing.
So
it might not be the issue of how fast you sample it, because it may be sampling fast enough that it can still keep up with things.
That's true. That's true, David. That's true.
So, okay, can soccer's 10 feet by 7 feet. Do you think this would be that repeatable? Like if you went off, say you started in the left-hand corner of, one of the goals and tried to go to the opposite corner and back. Do you think it would be that accurate as far as positioning?
that's one of the tests I want to make.
Yeah.
In theory,
I want to write.
Ray.
Yeah, in theory.
In theory?
Yeah, in theory.
Theoretically.
I mean, actually, the floor we have at the makerspace is probably about as ideal as you can make it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's got enough random
dirt.
Things and,
Dirt, bug parts.
yeah.
It's not super glossy either, so that's good.
What's that?
It's not glossy. It's
yeah.
So here's
It's a special quality of dirt that gives it its non-glossiness.
So according to this thing, here's a repeatable error, and this is a percentage. So 25 millimeters up to 10 inches per second. So that's relatively slow versus full speed. So at 10 inches per second, you get a 4.4% error rate, and at 45 inches per second, you get significantly more. But
yeah, 2.8%. Yeah.
And it's running at 242 frames per second. Whatever that, if you
okay, that answers the question that David had said that it would be probably, and so that's the answer.
Yeah,
that's plenty fast.
So
that's roughly every 4 milliseconds.
Yeah, and I don't know how fast you guys can move a thing out from underneath of it or read off of that, but I think 4 milliseconds is probably going to be. I don't think we're 4 milliseconds fast, is what I'm saying. I know I'm not. I'm getting older every day. I'm certainly.
Okay.
And then, you got everything working in the milliamps things. You got some 50% duty cycle on the clock, and you don't even have to supply a clock to the thing. It does it itself. So I thought I saw that, and it's pretty cool. And we'll figure out what all the registers and crap are and do some things with that. I imagine somewhere, and I can get on the forums because I didn't have a login or anything on that thing, and I couldn't find what I was looking for. And I'll go, take another stab at it. Back off. I don't know, maybe fix me some kind of drink that may or may not. Well, it should have an umbrella in it, but I don't have no umbrella, so I'll have to live without the umbrella, and then go at it again.
Yeah, another thing too is, Murray found those guys to be very, very responsive. I'm sure if you asked, some not answered in the forum questions, I'm sure they would be willing to give you a quick, give you an answer if they have it.
Yeah, I have no doubt about that. So anyway, I thought that was pretty cool, and I'd like to, I wanted to show that off a little bit. And
Well, this is cool. I'm excited. I want to see it.
I've got some other Pimoroni things that I'm going to be working as well. And again, this thing right here, I'm going to be making more of these so I can screw some stuff into them and hold on to the things while I'm plugging into the Arduino or whatever I have for testing purposes.
See, in the future, it'll be referred to as the Pilcher standard test jig.
That would be wonderful that would happen. However, I'm not holding the breath over here, and but you never know. And I'm just putting these together, and we'll see if they come out worth the darn. Somebody likes them. I'll eventually get them all up on things or something, so other people can use them. But this is the first one. And
is that CubeSat size?
I don't know. It's 100 millimeter cube. If that's CubeSat size,
that's a pretty standard size for CubeSats.
And I figured it.
So that's his real ambition.
Yeah, that's real ambition. Exactly. So I figured at 100 millimeters, that ought to give me plenty of room to do whatever I need to do on the inside of this stuff, and mount something up, and then change this support thing because I got lots of droopage thing when I was printing it out. But I don't really care about the sagging because it's not going to affect the test on it so much. And I've been printing with some PET G here, and I'm printing extra slow, which is probably why it sags after.
I did have a question for Kareem. Hey, Kareem, you do a lot of nylon printing, 3G. What bed surface are you using?
It doesn't really matter that much, I guess. We're using the what's that called? That plastic. I'd have to look it up. It's a really high temperature plastic surface, but then on top of that, I've switched to the flexible steel plates, but it's got a very thin layer of that plastic on top of it that a lot of people are using.
Yeah. PEI, is it in PEI?
Yeah, that's it.
And, okay. Yeah,
but for nylon, we use, then we use just, standard, what's the glue called? Like Elmer's glue kind of stuff.
Glue sticks.
But we use the glue sticks.
Yeah, okay. So you use glue sticks. Okay.
We use glue sticks, and if it's a thing that's gonna really want to lift, then we'll use plenty of brim on it. And sometimes we'll design our own pads into the design.
Have you had any? How do you keep your filament dry?
Yeah, that's just pretty good too.
Yeah, that's
I have some really large plastic tubs with a sealant, basically an air seal on them.
Yeah.
And the bottom of them are filled with silica gel.
Yeah.
The indicator kind that turns color.
Yeah.
And then I also have a dehydrator. It's a regular, just a food dehydrator.
Yeah, that's what I'd heard. I'd heard people were saying that a dehydrator is really a good way.
They work great. They really work great.
Do you have a temperature control on yours, or is it
It is, but I just keep it on the maximum. It's 165 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay.
And I let it run overnight, usually. And it'll take a 1 kilogram spool that's really, really wet and dry it out pretty thoroughly in that amount of time.
Okay. But you don't store it in there. You don't.
No.
That's just.
It doesn't work for storage at all because it's got like open vents that need for the fans when it's running.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it doesn't help hold it.
Okay, so it's two parts then. One is a tank with the desiccant,
Yeah.
and then the other one is to shock it. Do you shock it every time you use it, or do you just do that if you're starting?
I just do it when we. So we're lazy about actually taking the spool that's out on the printer itself,
Yeah.
and taking it off every time. So we basically just keep running it, and then we'll find out that it's gotten a little too wet, and then we'll pop it in the dehydrator while we bring another one out of storage.
Okay.
Just use the banana chip setting. Is that the?
Yeah, something like
slice
that.
some bananas and put it in.
I've never actually done food in it. I bought it's a food dehydrator, but specifically for this one use for us. Yeah.
You probably wouldn't want to use food in it after,
Well, I don't know. Nylon's probably not that bad.
Nylon's pretty, yeah.
Yeah, it's probably the ABS reel would probably be the big part. Yeah. Cool. Thanks for that information.
Sure. I just got those tubs from Target, I believe.
Yeah. But they had a seal in them?
Yeah, you got to search specifically for it, but yeah, they have an airtight seal. So you can get it's a variation on the standard storage tubs that they have at big box stores. It's a bit more rare, but they do exist.
Okay. And you got it at Target?
Well, online, I think.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I don't think they actually carry them in the store.
Gotcha. Because I want to say I've never seen them. Yeah. Okay, that's cool.
Do the glue sticks work well with like PLA? I've got some small parts, and as they grow taller, they become unstuck.
Well,
we don't print much with PLA, so I can't answer that myself.
I do a lot of PLA. I can tell you that in a case, if it's really tall and slender, then you probably need to put a raft on the bottom of it to increase the base size. Okay.
Well, I've got a brim. I've got a brim around the bottom.
I got to make sure I get these right.
Brim is the one that's just flattened and gives you adhesion, whereas the raft is thicker.
Yeah.
Right, and it's porous. Usually.
Yeah. It's like 2 or 3 layers of. That's bigger than your base.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, so the brim extends the base out also. Yeah. Usually use raft more when you have not a perfectly uniform flat bottom.
Yeah. But I've never had any problem. I tell you what I use, and once you use something like this, if you're going to just do exclusively PLA, then I would just say go out and get one of these magnetic base. I mean, it's 2 sheets. One of them is a magnetic with adhesive on it. So it's like a door magnet with adhesive on one side. You put that down on your aluminum plate, and then the other one is got a magnet with a tough plastic top surface, and you use that. And I use that all the time. And then after your part is, you just take it and bend it, and it pops right off. Now they have like the ones that that's what I use. But now the ones that they've come up with recently are like what Kareem said. So you still have the bottom magnet plate, but the top plate is made out of steel coated with this PEI, I believe it's called, material on it, and that has the advantage that it goes to a higher temperature. See, if you use the ones that are just a sheet of magnet, like I say, like refrigerator magnet type material, the problem with that is that if your bed gets higher than about 90 degrees, you start to lose the magnetism. So you'll wear out the magnet in it. The ones with the steel plates supposedly will go up to 120.
We print with our bed at 105 when we're doing that one.
Yeah.
I've
So-
got it at 80 degrees C for PLA.
That might be a tad. I wouldn't be afraid of going up another 10 degrees on that one.
Yeah,
If you-
I was doing a really slow print, and I've done it 3 times now, and 13 hours in, it fails.
Yeah, why don't you pull your bed temperature up to 95,
Okay,
Talking about
I'm ready.
Fahrenheit, though.
90 or 95.
95 C.
See, yes.
Yeah,
Okay, I could try increasing it some more.
yeah, and
I know I redid it and I sped up the print. I thought, okay, maybe I'm just holding it there too long, and maybe it's coming because it's cooling off too much.
it's not you're not trying to like make a 10 millimeter by 300 staff, are you? You're not trying to make soda straws or something like that. That's a very hard print to make. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, it's a flexible astronaut guy for my grandson, and it's about 7 or 8 inches tall, laying down,
Yeah,
and it fails on the feet every time. The feet get about 3/4 of an inch off the bed, and one of the feet breaks loose and bumps the head, and my print is off.
yeah. You might try No, wait a minute. Let me get this right. Do the feet delaminate from the bed, or do they just break off
No, I believe they become loose.
from the bed?
Yeah,
From the bed.
the bed is level, and I have a BL Touch probe on it as well.
Yeah. Well, it's not. Yeah, that's. How tall is, if you're getting prints up to 2 inches, then because usually adhesion is all in the first 2 layers, or even the first layer. If you have the first layer is down and it looks good, the rest of it is usually a piece of cake.
Yeah, I'm good till I get to about that 3/4 inch tall part, and that's where it fails.
Huh.
Doug, do you think it could be a slicing error? Just not sliced correctly?
Yeah, well, that's a possibility. But you're saying it's not. No, he's saying it's actually coming off the bed.
So, yeah, so the nozzle actually ends up hitting the print at that one spot. So the leg is breaking free, and at some point it's getting loose, and then it's loose enough that it interferes with the nozzle and knocks everything out.
Oh.
And it's always the feet. So it's not. I checked them partway through, and they seem to be solidly on the bed.
Have you tried rotating at 90 degrees or 180 degrees? See if the problem moves. Because
That's a good idea.
Another thing you might want to look at your BLT touch probe map and see if you've got where the feet are. Is there a low spot? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when you watch the first layer be put down, you want to see the filament squished. All right. So like if it looks like perfectly round filament being laid down and it's thin, then that means you're not close enough.
The filament is squished. I've looked at that, and it is squished. And then, like I say, the first layer, half inch up, everything is stuck very well to the bed. Everything is doing good. It's when I get around the 3/4 inch mark above the bed that I get the legs breaking free.
Well, I'm beginning to wonder if Ray could be right. You could be having some sort. So what might be happening is that for some reason you're hitting a part of the model. You're hitting part of the model, and that when you hit the part of the model, that's when things start to go crappy.
Yeah.
And if it's failing in the same place every time, that's also, that's not a random event. That's a systematic error. So I
looked at 2 of the prints, and they both failed, roughly hitting the leg in the foot in the same part.
Why don't you try a different slicer? You
Well,
have
kind of
this,
like you said, rotate it, see if it follows the.
yeah, that would be another thing to see.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if, that would change the XY. You'd have to reslice it to do that.
Yeah,
So,
I can
so
turn
that
it
might be
90
worth
degrees.
looking. Yeah, why don't you, what slicer are you using?
Just a Cura slicer.
Okay, well, that's a good slicer.
Yeah, it's an Ender V3 Pro or whatever it is, and I'm using a Cura slicer.
Okay.
So what I tried is I thought, okay, maybe the temperature differential is, as I'm getting higher, is becoming too great and the legs are breaking free. And that's why I thought,
No,
okay,
with PLA, that shouldn't matter. You don't even need an enclosure with PLA. PLA is dead simple to print. That's why I print so much of it. You can bridge, you can do, everything. As long as you don't need anything over 100 degrees or something like that, you're okay. Fahrenheit.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm glad you guys have a contest in November so that my robot won't melt.
I was going to say, in Canada, you can probably leave it in your car, but if we do that here, it's a disaster.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, that's you can try. So hopefully, give you some examples, Pat, or ideas.
Yeah, I've got even just spinning at 90 degrees and give it a try to see.
Yeah, and like I say, 90 is. You said you had it at 80 or 90.
My bed is at 80 degrees.
Yeah, that's low. That's lower than what I use. I know.
Okay, well, I'll bump it up to 90 or 95.
Yeah.
Okay, and I do have a robot question. Believe it or not, a robot question. So
Excellent.
I am, if it's all right, can I go?
Yeah,
Please do. Yeah. Robots.
Share my screen. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
So I have one of these. I've been playing around with it. GPS works really well. I'm inside my camper and it picks up through everything. It picks up pretty good. And watching it drift around, even inside, I'm within a meter all the time. So looking at my results, which I'm happy with. So the problem I'm having trouble with is the compass. I can't get this thing.
That's always the one that people have trouble with.
Exactly.
What's that?
The compass is always the biggest pain in the butt.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get the compass to work, and I've tried several different libraries with it, and I'm not getting anywhere with it.
Is that a new Heisenberg thing where you know where you are, you just don't know which way you're pointing? Is that how that works?
And it's a compass.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I know I'm here, I just don't know which way I'm facing.
Yeah.
And it's pretty tough here too because the sun rises and sets in the same direction.
Rises and sets in the same direction.
That's a good trick.
Yeah.
No mirrors involved?
It rises in the southeast and it sets in the southwest, so it's
Okay.
always south, basically.
It's kind of like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So it starts off at one end of my camper and circles around the front and sets on the other end of the camper. Always in the south.
You know, in the movies, it was never like as the sun sets slowly in the southwest.
So maybe it sets in the west down there, but up here,
Anyway.
around June 20th, it pretty much doesn't set. It goes to bed at about 12 o'clock, 12:30, and gets up at 3.
That's so cool.
Anyway, so that's the problem I'm having is the compass. It's not working with beans, and I was wondering if it's because of it's sandwiched between the GPS module and the antenna, that compass chip.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody else's is experience is the same as mine, but I think the only compass that I could get working really well and more outside than inside was the BNO 055. So,
Yeah.
and outside it worked really well.
Wasn't somebody thinking about doing a crazy thing with like mounting an analog compass on it and putting a camera on the thing?
Camera, yeah.
I know that guy.
Pat,
compass.
Pat, can you show that listing of of your GPS again?
Sure.
In fact, recently there was I think there was a sale on it from Spark Fun. It was just a compass part. And I thought, I'm going to try that, see if, see how well it works. It was all over the place. I mean, you couldn't bring it near anything, steel. It would just like throw it way off, like, 90 degrees and very sensitive.
Yeah. I can get it to come back to like 360 or 0 occasionally. It'll come back and it's facing the same direction, but it's just all over. I'll spin it 180 degrees and it'll say it's at 270, and then I spin it 180 and it'll say it's the same thing around 270, 280.
Yeah.
So it's all over, and I'm wondering, okay, is it because it's sandwiched between this, the antenna and the steel casing? So
God, you would hope not. You would hope that
there you can see both sides.
So it wouldn't work.
Yeah. Whoa, okay.
But what is it? I mean, how is it that when my experience with mobile phones and even this watch on my wrist is that the darn thing is pretty consistent. I mean, to the human eyeball, where north is more or less north and west is more or less west. I mean, it's pretty accurate and it doesn't shift that much. So what is it that's different?
He said that his was.
Yeah, but if you really looked at it, Carl, you mean in your car?
On my wrist.
Yeah,
on my
his
wrist.
Oh, yeah.
On my wrist and my phone. I mean.
Yeah, but when you're looking at them, they're not surrounded by a whole bunch of other electronic devices.
Well, I'm sitting here now, I mean, and it's pointing to the north despite having 3 monitors and 2 laptops and a couple of keyboards. And
I'm assuming it's got, components similar to the BNO 055 accelerometers and
well, it's got that chip, HMC 5883L, I think it is, in there, and there's all sorts of libraries for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, maybe I have to take it outside and go for a walk and see if it works any better outdoors. But
is it a 3-axis compass or a 1-axis compass?
It's a 3-axis compass. So I was thinking, like Ray said, of buying just the compass chip, on a little module, and trying it outside to see if it's like trying it just by itself, if it's any better. This GPS, I think, is great. I'm regularly connect to 12 satellites up here, and I'm running it at 5 hertz, and it's working well for me.
It's interesting. I'm in the process of getting another GPS, which I needed like a hole in my head, but I'm getting another one because I saw it and it said it was a 10th generation, and it was supposed to be U-Blot compatible. I'll tell you more about it once I get it actually in and see if it does anything. But so you're hooking up your SPY and you're hooking up both ports, right? And I want to make sure you're doing that.
Yes. So I've got I2C for the compass, and I've got serial for the GPS.
Okay. Have you just tried to use the compass without the GPS, just for grins?
Yes, I did. Still, I said, let me just try the other one and just see if it works alone on it. So I wrote a test program, and no difference.
No difference.
So that's where I'm wondering if there's just too much sandwiched around it with the active antenna on the other side of the board.
Or you could have gotten a bad one. that happens too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Amazon is not, sometimes there's a lot of stuff on there, and they're probably assuming that, if the GPS works, you'll be happy. So
I got it just for the GPS actually, and I am very happy with how the GPS is working.
okay. Now I'm saying you could send it back in and get a new one.
Too late.
Too late. No, it says you got it on the 19th. You're good.
I got it on a year ago on the 19th.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, so you use parts like I do. I see.
It's a high priority project for you.
Well, I had built this and I put it on a little trinket board just to do the communication and give me some feedback and send it to USB to the Raspberry Pi. And that part is all working. So I flash a light green. I got 12 satellites. Every 10 seconds, I'll flash it however many satellites there are connected. And it's working well. So I can tell if it's red, I got no satellites. If it's orange, I got less than 8. And if it's green, I got more than 8 satellites. So it gives me some feedback, at least, on what I'm doing with the little trinket board I got connected. But like I say, I tried, okay, let me try to get the compass going. And that's where I failed.
Well, just curious, okay? I don't know if anybody else is interested, but just, can you click on the ratings there? Click on the ratings.
4.3.
Okay. Now, up at the top of that, there should be somewhere you can ask a question or put in a search. Okay, Up on the search, put compass doesn't work. See if you got it. So here, what do you...
Yeah, there's one that's hooked it up to a Raspberry Pi and compass didn't work.
Yeah. And the answer was mine was defective too.
So there's probably someone else. There's another one. What's this? Well, you're not? Are you trying it on a Raspberry Pi?
I'm right now. No, it's on a trinket. It's just spitting out a serial stream to.
The trinket is ESP30. What is a trinket? What is a trinket board?
Trinket is it's a SAMD21.
Oh, okay.
Oh, is the trinket a SAMD21?
It's the newer trinket.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I did that. Hang on, I'll grab it. I did that because the circuit board is very small. And I'll plug it in and see if I can show you guys. If I have a USB port left on this thing. No USB port left. Okay. I'm gonna shut down the screen. Okay. And unplug my mouse. Go back to my window so I can see you guys. So, basically, here's what I have.
Okay.
A little trinket. I got elastic wrapped around it just to hold the wire. And it should flash in a second.
So that's the GPS telling you how many.
Yeah, green with 12 flashes. So I got 12 satellites connected. And then on the back side, get a little blue LED and then a red LED. So the red LED, I believe, tells me I'm connected to satellites.
Yeah.
And the blue is every time I transmit to the trinket.
Now, what is it that have you tried to calibrate the compass, by wiggling it in figure eights?
I have not tried to calibrate it.
I mean, what is are you not getting anything from the compass at all? Or are you getting wrong values?
I'm getting, all sorts of wrong values.
Okay.
From what I'm told, the compass should be pretty close to the way it is, within a few degrees.
Okay.
Without calc, and which would be fine with me. If I know which way north, east, west, and south are, it makes it easier to start navigating.
Yeah. But it bounces around. Like, otherwise, you're going north, you're going east, you're going north, you're going east, you're nowhere north, you're going west. Is that what you mean, or is it? It
doesn't change very much. It'll change a couple degrees, and then it changes. All of a sudden, it'll change like 60 degrees. And then you turn it another 90 degrees in the same direction if you're going clockwise, and it'll keep holding values and not change any values.
Here's one that works similar to yours, Pat. Very touchy. So this was on sale at Spark Fun, and I thought, okay, I'll try it just to see how well it does, as a compass by itself, but it did not do well at all.
I'm thinking about, actually, I bought one, if I can go back to my,
seemed very sensitive, even, I don't know.
Confused by the sun rising and setting in the same direction?
I think that's what it is. I think that's exactly what it is.
But actually, I mean, what is it about aircraft flying? Are there any pilots around? Because isn't there something for navigation where you have to calibrate your magnetic compass reading based on how far north you are?
For magnetic declination? Is that what you mean?
For declination, you do. And there is a setting for declination.
Okay.
So like where I am, I'm 15.98 or 14.98 degrees declination.
Maybe that's it. You're too close to the pole.
I'm way up north, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. That's a good quick point. I wonder if it's not good at that.
Maybe it's actually shifting around, with the internal movement of whatever in the earth,
Are you above the Arctic Circle?
No. I'm at the 54th parallel.
All right.
So, not at the Arctic Circle, but I could see it from here. So I bought a couple of these before in January. I bought a couple of these, and I left them at home. I would have liked to give them a try.
Yeah.
So it's just a compass sensor. This is a QMC as opposed to an HMC. One is made by Honeywell. The other one is made by, I don't know. So I was going to give that a try, but I didn't bring it.
What did these cost, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, these guys, they're dirt cheap. Here's one Canadian. So if I go to Land of the USA.
Land of the dollar.
It's $11.
Yeah, they're dollar.
Not bad.
So I was going to give those a try. And the problem is like, it says, hey, order it now and you can have it on July 28th into Canada. For you guys, it's probably get it tomorrow. And like it's July 28th to my house back in Ontario. Here you can add 15 days to that date. Amazon overnight is a long time.
Maybe you need some of Harold's little magic green cubes for sensors.
That's what I need. Back to my 3D printing problem.
But you can make it out of wood.
I do have a couple table saws here.
So I'm kind of curious. Has anybody else experimented with, just separate compasses? And
Yeah, I did. Well, I did let's see, what do I want to say this? I did this when I first got started. My first attempt at a rover, it had a compass and I don't even think it had an IMU. I think all it had was a GPS and a compass, and it worked reasonably well. I mean, I moved away from it because it was not where I wanted to go, but I had it to the point where it pointed directly north and I could turn it 90 degrees and it would read 90, or I could turn it 270 and it would read 270. So I mean, it would do that, but if I remember right, it was one of those things that it would be constantly moving a little bit. You just so there, yeah.
I'm not looking for super accurate. If I can get within 5 or 6 degrees.
Well, since you're looking at this, I'm going to go show you this one anyway. I think if I can find it. Give me a second.
So I looked at a B&O 055, and to get the compass to work, it needs to be calibrated, and that's why some of these other chips are, a little more, to me at least, desirable, is that they don't have to go through a calibration.
On my experience with the one B&O 55, even after calibrating, it'd still lose calibration after a while, and any kind of motion after a while, and it would have a shift that just stays like a 10 and 15 degree or 30 degree shift.
Yeah, and that's when you're trying to say, hey, I want a rough idea of my pose. Which way am I facing?
Yeah.
And so that I could say, hey, I know where I am in the GPS world. Which way am I facing?
Yeah.
If I'm moving, I know which way I'm facing. If when I'm standing still, then I don't know where I'm facing.
Well, the sun makes an excellent compass.
Till you get a rainy day.
Well, except for rainy days, Yeah. But you're probably not going to be outside with your robot anyway, so.
Well,
what do they call? They don't call them GPSs anymore when they have multi-bands. What do they call them? They call them
GNSS receivers.
GNSS. Yeah. Thanks, Mikey. Yeah, I got it. Here's something that it's coming to me, and I'm just. I'm not recommending this. I'm just saying that.
At one point, I called it glasnost, but that was,
From your Ruski days.
Yeah. Yeah. I just posted in the chat. It's something that I'm looking at. Just curious. I want to get it and put it on Ubot's U Center just to see if what it shows up.
Are you sharing a screen, Doug? Because we just got
no. I just put a link in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this, like I say, this is just something I'm looking at, guys. I got one coming, but I'm not committed. I don't know anything about it, but it seemed to be kind of a newer thing. So I thought because the one I've got on right now is a U-Bot M9, and that's really nice. I really like those. Don't think they have a compass on them though. No.
So that one looks to have the same compass, the same.
Does it?
5883. M100. It's 5883 GPS.
Yep. It looks like it might do. So this will be a good test. I get it, and we'll see. I love this picture here. Do you see this one?
The dinosaur?
No. It's a big piece of land, and it says landing pad, and it shows. Oh wait a minute! No, you guys can't see this.
You're not sharing your screen.
No, that's okay. It's not that important. I thought it was funny. So I'm just curious if this will be any good. But that's a good question, because if this is the same compass module that everybody else has been having problems with, and we'll see if it's just another example. I don't see it naming the compass, but it would make sense that it would have that compass if it's got it in a name.
So it says it's U-Blocks compatible. It doesn't say it's a U-Blocks module.
No. It's not. It can't be a U-Block because U-Blocks, like I say, as far as I know, they're only on generation 9.
Yeah.
No, they have a 10th generation.
Yeah,
do they?
Yeah.
Okay, so well, that kind of got me interested. I want to put it in U-Block U-Center and see what it tells me it is. Okay, if
this is just saying that it's compatible with the U-Block's 10th generation protocol.
Right, but I think if I read somewhere in one of the reviews I read, this one has no reviews on it. But some of the other ones that I've said that have reviews on it, I'm curious if they basically said that you could use U-Block U-Center on this and make setting changes. I'm just curious about, most of the ones that you get out there that say they're U-Block M8s are really, when you get them, they're actually M6 clones with no RAM. No storage. So you can't change anything because they don't have any storage. So you got to be very careful when you buy a GPS from Amazon, because there's a lot of crap. But the thing is, I'm very good at, I have a Whole Foods within 4 blocks. So for me, I just take it back down there and give it back to them, and if it doesn't work, you know what I mean? So we'll see how it goes.
The one I have, it definitely has a memory in it because I switched the serial port speed.
Yeah.
From 9600 to 576. And it worked no problem.
Yeah.
So I switched from the 576, and then I switched the frequency so that it would run at 5 hertz.
Mm-hmm.
And that setting persisted between power cycles?
Yeah, 100% persists between power cycles. Matter of fact, I don't even think I'd remember how to do it again because I've soldered this into the trinket.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if those are the slightly out of spec U-Blocks modules.
No, U-Block
anything on Amazon is slightly out of spec.
Yeah, U-Block sold license to Chinese manufacturers to make the M6.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now I don't know if they sold for the M8. I don't think so. But the M6, in fact, like I say, if you look out on almost anyone that says it's sending you an M8, they're really sending you an M6. So and all of them are counterfeit. I mean, it's amazing. U-Bot runs a counterfeiting website so that you can kind of like look at the label, and they have all of these little things that they have built into their genuine label that the other guys don't copy, and you can see real quick that this is fake. So anyway, just like I say, take any GPS thing you get from Amazon with a grain of salt, unless you get something that says specifically, and you can tell when you get a genuine because they cost a lot more. You know, that's why I always buy my GPSs from SparkFun. I don't particularly like the offerings from Adafruit, but SparkFun I think makes good GPS breakout boards.
They are pricey though.
Yep, they sure are.
SparkFun, is that come out of the States or is that out of China?
Their main offices are in the U.S.
Yeah, they're in Colorado.
Yeah.
Okay. Because every time I look at SparkFun, the killer is shipping to Canada.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised.
But when I used to live in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, it was much nicer because you just, cross the bridge, pay $2.75, go pick up your package for free shipping.
Yeah. I think that there would be a service or something that would somehow help you with that, but I guess that would be illegal.
Well, I remember Murray had found a service to ship to New Zealand from the U.S. And it was a substantial savings for him. And he was running into the same problems I was, that you make an order and you pay $100 shipping. So like anything I order out of the U.S. typically is about $30 UPS shipping.
Mm-hmm.
So, you look at something and say, I'm going to spend $30 US on this and $30 shipping and $60 US, which is $100 Canadian. And you sort of say, okay, no, I don't need it that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost makes you want to just buy a ticket, buy a metric boatload of whatever that is, bring it back, and then sell it around to get your money out of the thing. Because it's got to be what. I mean, I know that's not effective, but it sure seems like it could be. Because how many can I bring back in my pocket for a possible plane ticket versus what that would cost me if I had them shipped over here, right?
Yeah.
Versus the customs impounding along the way.
Well, why you got to bring facts in with this illusion, man? Come on.
Have you ever been in with a forced declaration at the customs border?
Yeah.
I declare everything.
I declare that I had a good time and I'm ready to go back home. That's what They don't think that's too funny, by the way.
So are there like electronic things that you can't bring across the border? There's that kind of restriction?
Customs, it's taxable.
No, the government wants their, in Ontario, they want their 13%.
Yeah.
So, 5% to the federal government, 8% to the provincial government, and everybody's happy. Where I am in Alberta, there is no provincial sales tax, so it's 5% federal tax on whatever I bring. We're not happy about it, but we'll pay it.
Yeah.
So that's it for me. That's where I've been playing, racking my brains, trying to get a compass working. And I'm, thrilled to get the GPS working well, and it connects pretty quick.
Yeah.
And
that's good.
Yeah, and that's been that's my fourth GPS, and I had some of them that I waited half an hour, they wouldn't connect. And out in the backyard, and like, okay, what is there no satellites above where I live? And I bought this one. It's got an active antenna, and it picks up right away. So it's just the compass. So like I say, maybe I'll put a camera and just look for the sun.
Yeah, it needs to bring home.
GPS says it's this time, the sun is here. Hey, that must be, look it up in the chart. That must be this direction.
This is the unmarked.
Yeah, or for nighttime use, you could simulate a sextant, star navigation.
That you need no clouds.
That's true. Yeah. It's just not ideal. Rain, clouds, you know, they all have their issues.
Well, guys, I got to cut off. It's been fun. I'll see you next week.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Everyone have a good night. Take care.
Okay, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.